Hello, I'm Jen. Welcome back to my channel, Literary Love 123, where I read, analyze, and discuss horror through a literary lens. I am so excited because today's video is my February TBR video. There are some awesome readathons happening, book clubs, and other good stuff that I can't wait to tell you about. So after this quick intro, I'll be right back to talk about my February TBR. I am so excited to talk to you about my February TBR. So, the first part of my TBR is connected to two readathons that I will be participating in during the month of February. The first is the I Love Black Horror Readathon, which is created and hosted by the amazing Kelsey at My Bookish Life with Kels Sweetie. I will link her channel down below, as well as her announcement video, so you can get the details about this awesome readathon. So the first book that I'll be reading for the I Love Black Horror Readathon is A Phoenix Must First Burn, or First Must Burn. It is edited by Patrice Caldwell. It is 16 stories of Black girl magic, resistance, and hope. This is the synopsis. Evoking Beyonce's Lemonade for a teen audience, these authors who are truly Octavia Butler's heirs have woven worlds to create a stunning narrative that puts Black women and gender non-conforming individuals at its center. A Phoenix First Must Burn will take you on a journey from folk tales retold to futuristic societies and everything in between. Filled with stories of love and betrayal, strength and resistance, this collection contains an array of complex and true-to-life characters through which you cannot help but see yourself reflected. Witches and scientists, sisters and lovers, priestesses and rebels. The heroines of this anthology shine brightly. You will never forget them. And since there's also some folktale element to this anthology, I could count it for the other readathon I'm participating in, which is the Folklore February Readathon, hosted by the wonderful Kat at Kat's Novel Adventures. So I will link Kat's channel and her Folklore February announcement video down below. But now I want to talk about the second book that I'll be reading for the I Love Black Horror Readathon, and that is The Devil in Silver by Victor LaValle. I loved The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle, and I've read I know one of his short stories, maybe two, and I loved them. So I'm very excited to get to another work by Victor LaValle. So let me give you the synopsis for The Devil in Silver. New Hyde Hospital's psychiatric ward has a new resident. It also has a very, very old one. Pepper is a rambunctious big man, minor league troublemaker, working class hero in his own mind, and suddenly the surprised inmate of a budget-strapped mental institution in Queens, New York. He's not mentally ill, but that doesn't seem to matter. He's accused of a crime he can't quite square with his memory. In the darkness of his room on his first night, he's visited by a terrifying creature with the body of an old man and the head of a bison who nearly kills him before being hustled away by the hospital staff. It's no delusion. The other patients confirm that a hungry devil roams the hallways when the sun goes down. Pepper rallies three other inmates in a plot to fight back. Dory, an octogenarian schizophrenic who's been on the ward for decades and knows all its secrets. Coffee, an African immigrant with severe OCD who tries desperately to send alarms to the outside world. And Lucci, a bipolar teenage girl who acts as the group's enforcer. Battling the pill-pushing staff, one another, and their own minds, they try to kill the monster that's stalking them. But can the devil die? The Devil in Silver brilliantly brings together the compelling themes that spark all of Victor Laval's radiant fiction: faith, race, class, madness, and our relationship with the unseen and the uncanny. More than that, it's a thrillingly suspenseful work of literary horror about friendship, love, and the courage to slay our own demons. So I am looking forward to this book very much so. The next book that I want to talk about that I will be reading for the I Love Black Car Readathon is On Sundays She Picked Flowers by Yaya Schofield. In this sinister and surreal Southern Gothic debut, a woman escapes into the uncanny woods of southern Georgia and must contend with ghosts, haunts, and most dangerous of all, the truth about herself. When Judith Rice fled her childhood home, she thought she'd severed her abusive mother's hold on her. She didn't have a plan or destination, just a desperate need to escape. Drawn to the forest of southern Georgia, Jude finds shelter in a house as haunted by its violent history as she is by her own. Jude embraces the eccentricities of the dilapidated house, soothing its ghosts and haunts, honoring its blood-soaked land. And over the next 13 years, Jude blossoms from her bitter beginnings into a wise woman, a healer. But her hard-won peace is threatened when an enigmatic woman shows up on her doorstep. The woman is beautiful but unsettling, captivating but uncanny. Ensnared by her desire for the stranger, Jude is caught off guard by brutal urges suddenly simmering beneath her skin. As the woman stirs up memories of her escape years ago, Jude must confront the cause of violence rooted in her bloodline. Haunting and thought-provoking, On Sunday She Picked Flowers explores retribution, family trauma, and the power of building oneself back up after breaking down. Oh, I just cannot cannot wait to read it. The final book that I plan to read for the I Love Black Car Readathon is My Soul to Keep by Tananarive Due. I have had this book on my shelf for a few years now. Tananarive Due is one of my favorite authors. The Good House, The Reformatory, The Between, Ghost Summer Stories, everything that Tananarive Due does. If you follow my channel, you may know that my first grad school paper, I wrote about the writing of Tananarive Due, and she just is amazing. So I am so excited to finally get to My Soul to Keep. So let me tell you what it's about. Jessica is an African American journalist, as ambitious as she is bright. She is chasing the biggest story of her life, a story that strikes closer to home than she knows. DeWitt, I hope I'm saying that right. DeWitt is an immortal whose ancient thirst for wisdom leads him to break the first commandment of his kind, not to fall in love. Together, they are about to pay the ultimate price for their ambition and their desire. Ooh, I cannot wait. I think I'm gonna have to end up starting my readathon a little bit early. It's a few days before February 1st now, and I am just like jumping at the chance to get to these books. So the next book I want to talk about, I'll be reading for the Folklore February Readathon hosted by Kat that I mentioned a while ago. And this is Gothic Blue Book 4 Folklore Edition. Now, you may have heard me talk about Gothic Blue Book 6, A Krampus Carol, which I always recommend for winter scary time. It is one of those rare anthologies where I actually loved every story in it. So I have very high hopes going into Gothic Blue Book 4. So let me just give you a little bit of a background about blue books and what they are. So Gothic blue books were descendants of chapbooks that peaked in popularity between the 1800s and early 1900s. They were abridgments of Gothic novels, and they were very cheap, which led to their nicknames of shilling shockers or sixpenny shockers. These miniature horror tales took readers on a tour through dark castles, cursed abbeys, and homes haunted with ghosts and demons. These stories were not welcomed by the literati. Literati, I know all about some of that in academic circles. In fact, many readers at the time frowned upon the consumption of ghost stories. Sometimes not much has changed, right? Still, these stories were adored by many, so much so that few copies remain, as they were made with inexpensive paper, and after being read and reread, their pages withered away. Our attempt at reviving this tradition is to bring you a hint of the traditional Gothic horror found in the original Gothic Blue books. Of course, our work comes with modern twists. So it does make me think of Penny Dreadfuls, right? Within folklore, one finds stories of legend, belief, history, and more. Within folklore, we also find traditions and cultures of a group. And within this collection, we find many tales common in America and throughout the Americas. American folklore, the kind that aims to chill, often includes tales of warning. Within these pages, we find a woman who comes terribly close to a killer, a scientist whose work devastates humanity, and a recluse who will kill to keep his family secret alive. In this collection, we also find familiar tales, tales that have been told and retold, mysterious lights over a canyon that lead us to wonder the validity of UFOs, the legend of La Llorona, the murderous weeping woman, the monstrous Jersey Devil, the vampires of the Ursuline Convent in New Orleans, and of course, a meeting with Godfather Death. The folklore edition features new fiction by J. Bonansinga and poetry by Bruce Boston. And the introduction was written by author Cynthia Paleo. So I'm really looking forward to getting to these folklore stories. And the other book that I will also be reading for Folklore February, and also because it is the Bookworm Book Club selection for the aforementioned Kat and her co-host Alex from Frank Fiction, who I'll link down below. They do a book that goes every couple of months. So I didn't get to this one in January, but it's also the February pick. It's a dual January, February pick, and that is Dark Sisters by Christy Demeester. And I did talk about this in my January TBR, so I'm not going to talk about it again, but it's 3 timelines. It's witchy, it's feminine rage, and empowerment. So very excited to get to it. So let me know what you plan to read this February. Are you participating in either of the readathons that I talked about? Or there are other readathons going on that you want to share? I would love it if you would hit like, subscribe, hit that bell so we can keep on talking about all the books that we are excited to read. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Happy reading!